In this video, we're going to do a quick tutorial for the Celebright Cloud app. This will get you started with your new lighting system. So first thing we'll do is we'll open it up. And when you open the app, this is the page that you're going to arrive on. It has a tab here for each of your devices that are on your account. And because you can control multiple devices from one account, you need to actually tell the app which device you want to control. So in this case, we only have one, but you just tap anywhere in here to select a device for control. Now we can select any of these activities along the bottom here to control our lights. So the first one is color. Color allows you to set one color for your entire house. So you can check any color on the wheel, and that will set the lights to that color. The slider here is for brightness, so you can dim the brightness of your lights. And then we also have these favorite color swatches below here. So you can select them to load. And the bottom row, you can actually save your own user presets. So to do that, you would pick a color on the wheel and then long press, and that will assign that color to the favorite color swatch. The next section is bulbs. Bulbs allow you to control each light bulb in your house individually. You're going to have one square for every light in your house. On this demo system, we only have 8, so we have 8 squares. You can choose a color, and then this acts like a paintbrush. So once you've selected a color, you can assign that color to specific lights on your system. And you can choose different colors for different lights. If you select a light that's already the selected color, it'll turn that light off. And if it's a different color, it'll just change it to the selected color. The third page is the pattern page. On here, you can select moving patterns for your house. So the first thing that I suggest doing is choosing the type of pattern. So here we have a whole bunch of different types of movement that you can do. And then everything below here allows you to kind of dial in that movement to have it do the display that you'd like. So the 3 sliders, the top one is brightness, the next one is speed, and the third one is density. Density has slightly different function with each type of pattern, so you can play around with them, but in general, it'll either set the width or how densely populated something is. So for example, on this scrolling pattern, if you have it all the way down, you'll get 1 light per color in your palette. And if you increase it, you're going to get more bulbs per color. So it'll give you a wider color bar as it moves across the house. The color palette is here, and these 2 buttons here allow you to select what colors are going to be used to populate your pattern. You can choose from pre-made color palettes from the list here. So say red, green, blue, white. So now I have a repeating red, green, blue, white pattern. Or you can design your own color palette. And to do that, you just select anywhere along this color bar preview. And that brings up an editor where you can actually edit the color palette directly. And this works exactly the same as the bulbs page, where you would select a color and then you can just paint on specific bulbs. And once that's saved, it will update your color palette here. Reverse direction is pretty straightforward. It just changes the way that the pattern is moving. And smooth gradients blends the edges together. So let me just go back to this red, green, blue, white palette. And if you'll notice right now, it goes from red to green to blue without fading. If you turn this on, you'll get a crossfade between the colors to give you a smoother transition. So anything I've showed you up to now, the color, the bulbs, or the pattern, can all be saved as a preset. In order to save a preset, what you want to do is first go to the page and set the lights to do what you want to save. So in this case, say we want to save this as a preset. All you have to do is go to this drop down and choose Save as New Preset. Here we can give it a name. We'll call it Test, and red, green, blue, white, test. Oops, autocorrect, thanks. Red, green, blue, white. And then hit Save. And now that preset will be saved in our preset list. So we'll go there next to our preset list. So here there's a bunch of presets already pre-populated in here that are some factory presets. But if you notice at the bottom here, that's the preset that we saved. So to load a preset, you can tap anywhere along here. So for example, Canada Day will give us red and white. And if we want to load our preset that we just saved, you just tap on it there, and that will load the preset. You can select this info button to view the contents of the preset and then use these little edit icons to actually change the data in the preset so you can update it. So say, for example, we want to just change that to something else. Now it has updated us and we have our preset updated. The schedule allows you to load events automatically. Any preset that you have saved can be turned on and off automatically on your schedule. So there's two views in the schedule. There's the calendar view, which we're on here, and the list view. On the calendar view, you can select a day on the calendar, and it'll give you a list of everything that's happening on that day. And then you can actually select the events as well to bring up information on them. The other view is the list view. So if we toggle this here, you'll get a list of every event that's saved in your device. And again, you can select it here to edit it. To save an event, use the plus icon. So that gives us this dialog here. So we'll call this the demo. And you can choose a date to start your event. So if you are running an event that repeats, you would choose the first instance of the event here. So let's say the 24th of November. And for the start time, you can choose either a specific time, like 6 p.m., or you could choose dawn or dusk. And what dawn or dusk will do is it will follow the sunrise or sunset for the location that your device is at, and it will change throughout the year. So it will follow, daylight savings time and when the sunrise and sunset actually happens. So let's start ours at dusk. And then for the end time, we'll set it to 11 p.m. You can also choose the preset. So this is where you tell it what display you want to have when the event is running. So let's use our test preset that we just saved. The next option is priority. Priority is used when you have multiple events that conflict with each other. So a good use case for this would be, say you have a pot light setup that runs every night of the year, and you can set that at a low priority. But then say Canada Day comes along and you want to show your Canada Day preset instead. What you can do is save a separate preset for Canada Day and have it set to a higher priority. And when the two events are scheduled to run at the same time, what the system will do is it will show the one with the highest priority. So in this case, it will show the Canada Day one on that day instead of your everyday pot light preset. And the last option here is repeats. So we can set it to repeat on any schedule we want. This works very much like a Google Calendar would, if you're familiar with that interface. So you could say, let's repeat every day, and then you can also set an end date if you want. So if we wanted to end at the end of the year, you could go here and then change that date to the end of the year. You can also do weekly things, like say you want Tuesday and Thursday. Or you could do an annual event. So, say every year on November 24th, we want it to run. Once you've done that, just hit save. And now your event will show up here. And if you see, so we set it for November 24th. So if we go to our calendar view and select November 24th, what did I set it for? Repeats every year. Oh, I set it until November. Let me change that because it ends before it actually starts. Let's just go end never, save. So now if we go to our calendar, you'll see on the 24th we have the event that we just saved. And you'll notice that we set the start time here to dusk, and on the calendar view it's actually showing us the actual time that it will turn on that day, so 4:24 p.m. And if we look at this test event here, it'll change throughout the year, so 4:22, 4:21. So it will shift as the sunrise and sunset times change. Another couple things to notice up on the top here. The power button allows you to see if your light is running or not, and also allows you to turn it off or resume your schedule. So if you select this button while it's on, you get three options. You get the option to resume the schedule, which will just go back to whatever you have running in your calendar at that time. If you don't have an event scheduled, it will just turn your lights off, and then it will turn on at the next scheduled event. Lights off and disable schedule is a true off. That is actually turns the lights off, and it will keep them off. It won't run your calendar. It will just stay off until you go in and tell it to do something. The third option is set a sleep timer. So here you can set it to turn off after a specific amount of time. And this is actually the default behavior when you go in and manually set a color or a pattern through the interface here on the color bulbs or pattern page. When you do that, it will automatically start a sleep timer for 4 hours, but you can come in and you can edit that duration here. And you can also select what you want the behavior to be after the sleep timer expires. So once that finishes, you can either just tell it you want to resume the schedule, or you can have it disable the schedule. So if we disable the schedule, you'll also see this icon here changes. This is your calendar icon. So right now, it's a disabled schedule. If we resume the schedule, that will switch to a green icon. And then if we set a sleep timer, so we'll just go in here and set a manual color, you'll see it changes to this stopwatch icon. And then the little line underneath it tells you at the end, if it's green, it's going to resume the schedule, and if it's red, it's going to disable the schedule. The settings are here. We'll cover that in another video. And the other thing you might want to do, if you have multiple devices, you can always select here to switch between devices. And if in the event that you have an internet outage where you can't access the cloud, what you can do if you're on the same local network as your device is you can switch to the local network here and then attach it here. I'm not actually on a network that has any devices, but if you were connected to a local network that has a device on there, it would show up here, and you could use it locally instead of on the cloud. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good overview of the the basic functionality of the Celebright Cloud app.